also to make sure that everything stays in good shape. Well, the chicken is cooked and I'm going to remove it from the saucepan into the dish where I'm making the sauce, because I need the bottom of this tray to make the sauce. See, there's lots of good things in the bottom of this tray. All the flavor of the chicken and the onion and the vegetables is in the bottom of this dish. Now I need to cover my chicken to make sure that it doesn't get cold. We're going to keep it warm. And before I put the sauce in that pan, I put a little bit of brandy, but you could use white wine if you want. If you don't want to use any alcohol, you don't have to, but it's good to use a liquid that is going to dilute all those beautiful flavor in the bottom of this pan. And now over that, I'm going to strain this beautiful chicken sauce that we have been preparing. Lots of chicken flavor in that, absolutely superb. See, this is lots of sauce for 4 people. And now it is time to add the tarragon. Tarragon, the fresh tarragon that I've just chopped. It's important to prepare the tarragon at the last moment when you do something like that. You keep much more flavor by doing that. And now a little bit of pepper, black pepper for the seasoning. This is just the right texture sauce. I'm really delighted with this sauce. And just to reheat the chicken and to give it some tarragon flavor, put the chicken for 1 minute before serving it. And perhaps baste it with this delicious sauce. Today I'm going to show you a dish of broccoli and beef stir-fried together and served with some Asian noodle. It's an easy dish. It doesn't take very long to prepare. It doesn't take very long at all to cook. But the first thing is to marinate the beef. Now, the beef, you need a special cut, a very good cut, a very lean cut of beef. And I've got beef fillet. For 4 people, you need about 300 grams. You could have a bit more, but I think in stir-fry, you never want too much meat, because that would put too much moisture with the vegetables, and it would not be so crisp. So the preparation of the marinade is simple. You cut the beef into slices of about 1 centimeter thick. See how tender it is. My knife just goes through it like butter. And after that, all those slices we cut into small strips of 1 centimeter thick too. So we finish up with some strips of about 5 centimeter long, very thin. It's good to cut them regularly, so you pay a bit of attention on that, so they will be all cooked at the same time. And this beef is put into a bowl with some spices, some liquid, and we are going to use some very Asian spices. We are going to use 2 teaspoons of soy sauce, about 2 teaspoons of corn flour, roughly. And we are going to put 2 teaspoons, or the equivalent of 2 teaspoons, of dry sherry. In Asia, they use sherry, or they use an Asian wine, Chinese wine. And all that we are going to stir well together to make sure that the beef is well coated with all those ingredients. Well, this is lovely. We can leave that aside. And now we can straight away cut our vegetables. Now, I've got, apart from the broccoli, I've got an onion, I've got a carrot. They are minor vegetables in the dish, but they're still important for the texture and for the flavor. And we are going to cut those vegetables very much in the Asian manner, which is always diagonally, like that. We have our carrots. Now the onion, cut in 2 first. And we are not going to cut them too finely. The Chinese people don't really use chopped onion in a wok dish because it would be so fine that it would burn if it's chopped. So you really need some pieces of onions, and you can even undo them like that, so you make sure that they are not going to, you're not going to have too big pieces, but not too small. And now the broccoli. Well, the broccoli is a magnificent vegetable. If you have got pieces of that size, it is good. It is important to leave some stalk, so the broccoli head will hold. And even the stalk is a very beautiful part of the dish. It's very lovely, the stalk like that, especially when broccoli are in season like now. They are very tender. Well, that will do. It's interesting when the Asians prepare a dish, or in the old way at least, they always had at least 3 times more vegetables than they had meat. They had a way of balancing their meal by having 3 times more vegetables in quantity than they had meat. That's interesting to know, isn't it? Sometimes we tend, when we have a special occasion, to have a big steak or a big piece of meat and a little bit of vegetables. Well, that's not too good. Now, the cooking of the stir-fry dish. There's a special technique when you have meat and vegetables together. You must always stir-fry the meat first. Now, this needs to be stir-fried immediately, but I want to add a little bit of seasoning, which is 1 chopped clove of garlic. When the meat is colored all over, remove it from the wok, and then we can cook the vegetables. Now, it might be necessary to add a little bit of oil. Just a teaspoon is enough. And we are going to stir fry first the onion and carrots, because they are the hard vegetables. The broccoli is not going to take so long. After about 20-30 seconds, add the broccoli. And you must make sure that you stir all the time. After a little while, it is time to add some water on the side of the wok, never in the middle. The side is hot and will make it steam straight away. So we are going to finish the cooking by steaming. Just perhaps a quarter of a cup or less is enough. While the vegetables are steaming, we need to cook the noodles in a large volume of water. They will take about 2 to 3 minutes. Well, the vegetable is ready. You know, when they change color like that, when the greens are very green, and when they look soft, slightly soft at the same time, it is ready. So now we are going to put the beef back in that to reheat and put a bit of seasoning, and then we are ready to serve. Looks very appetizing. Certainly a very great cuisine, Chinese cuisine. It is to the east what French cuisine, I think, is to the west. And I know that a few Italian people are going to start to strangle me, but I believe that the French have the edge. Now the seasoning, it's up to you to add more or less, but I think that a little bit of sesame oil is always lovely, but as you know, very little of it, a couple of drops. And just to make it even more crunchy, I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of roasted almonds.
Can also leave a residue of lead. Others think of sand. I think possibly the best way is a weak hydrochloric acid, about 5%, which the chemist will make up for you. Be careful you don't get a spillage. You can wear rubber gloves if you feel so, but don't keep it, just keep it off your hands. And then put the stopper back and give it a good old sloshing round. Well, that seems to have cleared it quite efficiently. So let's pour away the acid and the old bits of wine. And of course, give a good rinse out. In fact, a couple at least. And the last thing is probably the most important of the lot for the life of the decanter, and that is that glass should not be left damp, particularly with the early glass, because it can cause kind of misting, it can even cause a kind of iridescence. So the most efficient way to dry is with a hairdryer. Probably got rid of the worst of it. Another problem with decanters is a very recurrent one from the letters that I have. The stopper won't come out. But a lot of them say, oh, that's easy, just give it a bash with another piece of glass. Don't, because you're liable to end up with 2 breakages instead of none at all. And you can be very sticky. You can use motor penetrating oil, one bright spark suggested, but trying to get the taste of that out of the decanter would take a long time. So the answer I found most efficient is olive oil, just a few drops, which you can get with a little pipette like this, and just put them round the neck of the decanter there, and it sinks in remarkably quickly. Probably quite as quickly as the penetrating oil would, and then held tight up close and give a bit of a twist, and out it comes quite safely and not tainted. Mending of glass is a tricky one. First of all, you're not going to get rid of the signs of the mend, and secondly, glass isn't very, very easy to bring together and to hold with in even the best glues. So you need some kind of support, which you can have with a piece of plasticine like that, and using one of these instant glues, put a little bit on each side of the break, give it just a second or two to go tacky, and then try and bring it together exactly on the break, like that, and push it into the plasticine so that it can hold while it is hardening. Don't worry about any spillage, because after it has hardened, give it a good 24 hours, you can scrape it off with a penknife or a scalpel blade.
There's a gulf of opinions for it.